Refugees in Cape Town have until Saturday to either accept reintegration into their host communities or face eviction. This is according to the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Aaron Mostoaledi. The department, as well as other role players, briefed Parliament's Home Affairs Portfolio Committee today on the latest developments around foreign nationals protesting in Cape Town. Mostoaledi says they expect most people to choose reintegration at the Wingfield base, but the group of just over 300 people at Paint City insist they won't move unless they are repatriated to Canada. Mostoaledi says this group does not qualify for international protection. They also face persecution in their countries of origin. And the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Aaron Mostoaledi, joins us now. So we'll get to the protests by undertakers in just a moment, Minister. But let's just first start with this. You briefed the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs around the issue. There was a deadline given before. On Friday, the department then issued a statement saying that the refugees could stay while officials continue processing the documents. So where do we stand now?
Good evening, Tsepiso. Good evening to the listeners and the viewers out there. Indeed, there was a deadline, Tsepiso, but we realized that if we have to implement that deadline, we were going to disrupt the smooth activities of two important United Nations agencies, international agencies, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and the International Office on Migration were making inroads in terms of people who were agreeing to be repatriated back to their countries of origin and those who were agreeing to be integrated in and around communities around Cape Town. So we decided to give it a chance because it was going very smoothly. And that's why we moved that deadline.
Now, Minister, as I mentioned in my introduction, that some of the refugees refuse to be part of this program, saying that they want to be repatriated to Canada. But you say these are people who don't even qualify. Just how many people qualify and what are the stipulations?
No, Tsepiso, I was speaking specifically about going to Canada. When you are a refugee in one country and conditions in that country are such that you need to move and you can't go back to the country where you come from, you are then resettled to what is called a third country of resettlement. Now, this is how the system works. Countries that accept to become third countries of resettlement, they give their names voluntarily to United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees to say if there are refugees or asylum seekers in one country who are not comfortable, I'm here, I can take them. But that's a voluntary thing. But then there are conditions. You don't go there as a group, you apply as individuals. And that country has got a right to decide who must come in or not. They can say yes, they can say no. They can take Tsepiso and reject Mostoaledi. That's how it works. Now, the group is insisting that United Nations take them there as a group, as if the United Nations have got the rights to force a country like Canada to take anybody. United Nations has got no power over the Canadian government just to send people there willy-nilly because they want to go there. We in South Africa has got nothing to do with that, but they are using us as a springboard to force the United Nations to force the hand of the United Nations. So when I said they didn't qualify, I mean going to Canada in a group, nobody qualifies. A few of them might qualify if they apply as individuals.
So let's take Wingfield, for instance, Minister. I think it housed at some point 800 people, and at some point they ended up with numbers of about 360 people. If you could just give us a sense of what you're dealing with and what your briefing to Parliament is. I know at some point that the process was held back because of a staff shortage.
No, it was not an issue of staff shortage. Remember, Tsepiso, if we give you the events which happened historically, is that the people were holed up in a church in this protest that they want to go to Canada. There was a court case taken by the Cape Town Metro to court for their removal. and the judge granted that they be removed. And there was a parliament meeting on the 10th of March, which said either you repatriate them to their countries or integrate them, and we're given 30 days. But 2 weeks into that 30 days, COVID struck. And so they had to be moved away from the streets in terms of disaster regulations, not in terms of migration laws or refugee laws. It was disaster regulations that said nobody is on the streets. You'll remember, should be on the streets. You'll remember even the homeless people of South Africa were moved away all over the country, not only in Cape Town. That's how they were moved. And there was a lull until we went into lock level 1, in which case we started moving in and United Nations agencies started moving in to process them. So the lack of processing was because we're under a hard lockdown.
So please clarify then this, Minister. The Refugee Appeals Authority of South Africa did point to this. They also said that there was a budget and human resources allocation project problem. I know that the UNHCR had made available 147 million rand to South Africa to establish a backlog project. So how do the two facts then interact?
Yes, the problem were two, Tsepiso. The Refugee Appeals Authority of South Africa, in terms of the act, which established it, is an act of parliament, could only have 5 members. And when they sit to hear an appeal case, they needed a quorum of 3 people. And one of them must be the chairperson, who is a lawyer. So which means the other 2 were rendered redundant, and they were working with 3 people only, despite the fact that the Act wants 5. Now, we have agreed with United Nations that the backlog built, among other things, mostly because of that. So they gave us this money. We are going to hire 36 extra lawyers. So instead of having 5 lawyers in the Refugee Appeals Authority, there will be 36 lawyers for the next 4 years. 39 lawyers for the next 4 years. The other 36 will be on a contract for 4 years. We've already interviewed them. Over the past 2 weeks, we've interviewed 48 of them. We've been able to appoint 34. We're offering them the positions to start the work to deal with the backlog for the next 4 years.
Okay, so we know that asylum seekers are a completely different issue. There has been an extension by Home Affairs. Tell us just how quickly do their stay expire?
The asylum seekers, as you know, are people who are on a Section 22 permit. What it means is you are allowed to be in South Africa for a period of 3 to 6 months while you are applying to become a refugee, meaning to get access to international protection. Because if you are a refugee, you do have international protection. Now, that Section 22 permit that allows you to be an asylum seeker, it does expire and is renewable. You may remember that during the lockdown, these things were expiring, like the permits of people who are here, etc. We kept on extending them so that they do not expire. But recently, we have then decided they can apply online so that the issue of expiry is out of question.
And this process, is it online? Can there be an online extension?
Yes, they can actually extend online, yes. That was the reason why we launched that online extension, so that we no longer keep on the minister having a press conference or issuing a media statement to extend. In the past, they used to go there physically. Now you are aware that all refugee reception centers are closed. There was a kiosk at every refugee reception center where you go and renew your Section 22 permit or asylum seeker permit.
Minister, we have run out of time, but I have to ask about this. There are growing concerns of a protest by funeral undertakers who are demanding amendment regulations so that they have the right to remove bodies from mortuaries, hospitals and forensic laboratories for burial, including issuing of certificates. Have you had talks with them? Where do you sit on this issue?
Well, Tepiso, we are not disagreeing with some of the issues they are asking for, but they are asking for a change of laws. What they are asking for is governed by the Department of Home Affairs, is governed by municipalities, and is governed by Department of Health. All the 3 entities have met and agreed that if we have to meet some of the things they are asking for, we need to change legislation. We then said we are giving them a temporary reprieve for 12 months while we are preparing to change legislation. They are saying, no, we want the changes now. Now, that is very, very unreasonable, and it's impossible for anybody to change the law within a short space of time. I had one of them during the day say, what must happen after the 12 months? We are saying we are giving you a reprieve to do what you are doing for 12 months so that we look into the issues that we are asking for. Today, they were having a sit-in saying the DG of Home Affairs must actually give them what they are asking for today. That's grossly unreasonable. So we rushed to court to get an interdict, and we have interdicted them because they said they are going to close all the departments of Home Affairs offices. Another unreasonableness, because those offices are utilized by all of society, including yourself, people who have got nothing to do with the business that they are asking, the business that they are complaining about. Why do they want to close them down and intimidate them from getting services?
All right, thank you very much for your time. Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Mostoaledi updating us on the issue of refugees and asylum seekers and, of course, the protest by undertakers.